G'day guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to give the Viking a little bit more love. We're looking at doing a couple of roof mounted spotties that you see behind me here. So they're just sitting there for aesthetics at the moment, but we're going to make it happen. So this should hopefully, the idea is to give us a little bit more spread out to the sides while we're driving around the tracks and going flat stick. So that way we'll be able to see what's around the corners, and also just give us a little bit more light out the front for the driver, so he can spot anything that's out the front of us, and whoever's working the spotlight, which will be me, can have a look out the sides and keep an eye out for game out to the side. So a little bit of work to do. I've sort of had a few goes at this. I've had a few ideas that I wanted to do. Originally I was thinking about maybe putting it on the bull bar, but there's sort of not really anywhere suitable to mount it. I thought about raising up the existing spotlights and putting the light bar underneath, but again I wanted the light out to the sides rather than straight out the front. So after about 3 or 4 days of thinking about it, we've decided to go with the 2 light bars on the roof. So without any further ado, let's get stuck into it and give it a crack. Righto guys, so time to get stuck into it. So we're going with the King's 20-inch slimline light bar, and like we said before, the whole reason for this is basically they're cheap. I paid $59 for each of these, so if we break them or they die, it's a very cheap fix to get another one and just replace it like for like. So, and you know, for what they are, they're actually fairly well built product. I've had the King spotlights on my Triton for six years without a problem. Haven't missed a beat. They've been good. They put out good light. So I really can't complain. So for 59 bucks, that's what we're going with. You've got a little bit of spread, a lot of spot, so they should throw the light a fairly good way, and you've got a little bit of spread on the sides here, so it'll be interesting to see how they go anyway. So let's get stuck into it, and as you know, you can't start working on your vehicle without a cold frothy. So cheers to you guys, let's get stuck into it. So first thing we need to do here is just work out where we're going to mount these spotlights. So we're just sort of going to roughly set them in position there. We'll go around and grab the other one. Get these guys roughly lined up. Alright, so we're pretty close there. So as I said before, I want these angled slightly out from the front, so they'll give us a good spread out the front. So I think we've got a little bit of play in the mounting points on the brackets there, and that should give us enough to get it right once we actually get it out in the bush and see where we want them looking. Alright, so I'm just going to mark these out and get them mounted up. I'm just going to mark the outside ones first, and then I'll work out exactly where I want the middle ones positioned to get the right angle of the light. Rightio, let's get those drilled out and screwed in, and then we'll work out the second mounting point. G'day guys, we're at day number 2 now. Yesterday was a bit of a washout due to the rain, and today's not looking much better to be honest, but anyway, let's give it a crack and see how far we can get. So as you can see, we've mounted the 2 spotlights to the roof, and I'll take you for a bit of a walk around and show you what that looks like. And the next step is to mount the switch, the rocker switch, into the dash of the Viking. So we've got 3 cables from there that we need to get back from the dash back through to the dual battery box, and I'm going to mount the relay for the switch inside the battery box. So alright, we'll get into that and see how we go. Righto guys, so quick change of plans. I thought while I was doing this I might as well throw in a couple of USB sockets as well to charge our phones. So because they're going to run in the same conduit as the other stuff, I'm going to throw it in now and make it happen. So just going to go down here next to the SIG socket. So we'll pop that guy just in there next to that one, and we'll have a couple of USB points running off the dual battery. Happy days. Let's do it. So now that we've got the switches cut out, so for the switch we're going to run a red and a black for power and a blue to indicate our trigger wire. So I'm just going to tie these guys together, get them inside some conduit, and then start running the cables. And then for our USB socket I'm just going to run some 24020 figure 8 stranded, and that should be plenty. It's just 5 volts USB, so we'll get that run as well, and that'll all go in the same automotive conduit down to the back. First things first though, this is thirsty work. Got to keep your fluids up. Okie dokie, so now that we've got our cable all in our conduit here, so I've got 3 wires for the switch to the spotties, and I've got another figure 8 here for the USB sockets. So we run exactly the right amount of cable and don't waste any, I'm going to run this end through first, pull it through to where I need it to, and then I can cut it off inside the Viking here. So I'll start pulling that through now and get it all tied off. Alright, there we have it. So that cable's just about in position now. So what we're going to do is, because this all needs to be disconnectable, so you need to be able to lift up the tray and get to the engine to service it, pull the dual battery out, so we don't want to make that too difficult. So what I'm going to do here is the cable that comes from the two spotlights, these ones here, so they're going to come over to the corner here and join up into an Anderson plug. So basically all I've got to do to disconnect those guys is to pull out the Anderson plug. And this one here, which has got 3 cables from the switch and 2 from the USB, I'm going to run them into a 3-way and a 2-way Deutsch plug. So the Deutsch plug's a waterproof connector, relatively easy to get undone, and then we can just disconnect the whole lot, lift the tray up if we need to, and Bob's your uncle. So now that I've got that into place, I'll run the wires or the connections for the 2 spotlights, get those back to here as well. Then we'll do all those connections, do what we've got to do in the battery box with the relay, and yeah, we should be sweet. Should be happy days. So that way we can run the spotlights on the roof while we're parked up with the engine off, and we don't have to worry about running our start battery flat. So I'm looking forward to getting this done. It's been a couple of days now, so the weather's holding off just long enough for me to get into it, so hopefully we get it done today. If not, we'll smash it over tomorrow. Time for a frothy. Good fun though. Who doesn't? Well, we got rained out again yesterday, guys, but that's the beauty of doing this stuff yourself. You can do it whenever it suits you, and I'm in no rush to get this finished, so hopefully today's the day. So let's get into it and see if we can get it finished. I just got to cut these cables off here and do the terminations for the switches, and then I'll get stuck into the back. Let's get into it. Now it's time to join up the spotties and get the cables down to the back of the Viking. So I'm just running some 50 amp 6mm twin here. You don't need to run that high, but anyway, too much is better than not enough. So we'll get that cut up, get them joined up, and get them down to where we need them. got those joined up with our cable going to the back corner, we're just going to put some conduit over the top just to protect the cabling, and then we'll get into fitting off the plugs down the back end. So this won't take long at all. As you can see, now we've got our cables down to the back of the Viking here where we want to fit our Anderson plug. So these are our two from our spotlights, and this is the cable from the switches, so I'll shorten that up in a second. We'll do that one last because that's going to be the most difficult. So all I've got to do now is strip these two back, fit them into an Anderson plug. So when I fit off the other end of the Anderson plug, the negative will go straight to the battery, so that'll go straight through to the lights, and then the positive will go through to the positive output on the relay. So when the switch fires from the front, that operates the relay, and then the relay puts power to the spotties. So we'll get that done shortly. Okay, so we're at the business end of this now. We've just got to do the connections in the battery box and terminate the cables coming from the front. We've got a 12-volt relay here, so that's going to go inside here somewhere, and then we've got an inline fuse to go to our positive on the battery as well. So we're almost there, time to get into it. Guys, well that's it, done and dusted. All finished, the lights are installed, everything's wired up. I've tested it, it's all working. Let's fire these bad boys up and see how she looks. Look at that, beautiful. Happy days. Let there be light. Alright, well come on, I'll take you for a walk around and we'll have a look and see how it all finished up. Alright, so as you can see, we've got the bars mounted to the roof there. Nice little rubber grommet going through the roof. That's just really to protect the cable more than anything. And you can see they're bolted down pretty well. They're not going anywhere. If I need to, I'm not sure how this end's going to go. If it wobbles around a bit due to the vibration, I might have to reinforce that a little bit, but that's neither here nor there. Then we come inside here. So we've got our switch next to our other one sitting in our dash there, so she's all good. Light comes on when you flick the lights on. Happy days, off she goes. And then as I mentioned down the bottom here, I threw in a double USB socket as well, which runs off the dual battery, so that will keep our phones charged while we're out in the middle of nowhere. And again, it's all about making sure we don't run out of start battery. So here we come over the back here. As you can see, our cables are coming down. So we've got a few things going on here. So first of all, this one here was our original cable from our alternator or our start battery to the dual battery setup. So that was existing. This is the new one I've put in here. So that's coming from our spotlights. So the negative off this Anderson plug here goes straight to the battery, and the positive goes to our relay. Then down here you'll see, here's our 3 wires from our switch in the dash there. So red and black for power, and blue is our trigger wire. And you know, it was a bit of messing around to get those Deutsch plugs to work, but they're sort of not really designed for cable that thick. So but you know, got it done anyway. And here's our 2 wires coming over here to our USB as well, our figure 8. So they come down here, and then they come into our little battery box here. And I mounted the relay just in the top of the battery box. There's plenty of room in there, and did all the terminations in there. So yeah, happy days. Alright, so there you go guys, another job done. I'm by no means an auto electrician, you know, I just wanted to do it myself. I enjoy working on my own vehicle, and you know, it's not that hard guys. YouTube will teach you pretty much everything you need to know. Spend a bit of money on tools and have a crack at it. That's what life's all about. Have a shot at it and see how you go. So alright, well thanks for coming along for the ride. Look out soon. Next couple of days we're heading out to do a bit of shooting, so we'll see how these lights go and give you a bit more footage about how they look in the real world. Alright, thanks once again, and if you haven't already, please subscribe and hit the like button down the bottom. It helps the channel out heaps, and we look forward to seeing you on the next one.